Tunnel. If you were to visit my website, you would type Howdy Doody into Google. You'll find the correct spelling of the famous puppet. You then combine Tom Doody in a Google search for my site. Adam Strom and I have surprisingly, unexpectedly, it's not a terrible, complete surprise, but unexpectedly popular YouTube series called Credit Card Debt Talk. This is it. We're beginning to funnel some people there with a paid advertisement. So, listeners, if you happen to be one of them, it is our efforts to bring you here. We make no efforts to keep you here other than good information and maybe some modestly entertaining conversation. I got push the start button prior to sending Adam his link. So I am usually a little more graceful starting this than I am at this moment. Adam has very limited time today, so this one's going to be short. We're going to talk about credit score. Adam, I just sent Adam his link via text, so I could get his without technical problems. I'll get his voice very soon. We're going to talk about credit score. Credit score is an interesting element of credit card debt services. It keeps people out of these programs longer than it should, and and then when they get in, of course, if they were to check their credit is down. It crashes from delinquency, begins to come up as debts are being settled. As I learned this week, one client still had a settled debt on his credit score like a year after he had finished the program. Adam's working on that now, working on fixing the credit for him. Adam has been able to write letters for people to get paid debt recognized as paid, even when the credit report says that it's not paid. And of course, credit repair can do that as well, but sometimes the credit agencies aren't as fast as perhaps a loan application accompanied by a letter that explains the debt remaining on a credit report. Adam is a founding partner of Financial Rescuers. The service center is in Tempe, Arizona, near where Adam lives. And the company was founded in Pennsylvania. The attorney who's partnered with Adam is George Tadros. He is in Pennsylvania, licensed in the state of New Jersey and the state of Pennsylvania. And the company's been around for about 5 years. They are successful. Or I answer their phone for them 8 hours a week. That's 2 hours a day, Monday through Thursday. I cover the hours when it's still early in Arizona because of the time zone difference. It's easier for me to catch those 2 morning hours than it is for Adam and his staff. So I cover that time. Adam has a relatively small staff. From the calls that I take on the behalf of his office, he really has law firms, credit agencies calling in for two people, including Adam. So those two people are George, and this is a different George, not the attorney. This is a fellow named George Pachanka. There's also Robert Floyd. These each are professionals who are settling debt on behalf of Adam's company from the Tempe office. most of the calls I take are client calls, and they call about problems. Credit score, for some reason, has been like 3 calls in a row. Prior to that, I think I had 0. They call about getting sued. The people who are chasing them for money will sue them. This is a risk of the program, and it sometimes happens. Depending on how long the program is, a lot of the clients can minimize that risk down to something very close to 0. Of course, Adam and his business is obligated to prohibited from describing that risk as 0, even though in practical terms it's very near 0. For example, I had a client, the kind of client I would just never talk to, because the kind of client just doesn't have problems to need to call the first 2 hours of business in the morning and get me. That person was a 14-month program. He was paying $1,200 a month, and he got out of debt quickly. Adam. Yep. Yeah, I was afraid of that. Okay, Adam, I'm doing this one without you. I'm just about finished with it. So why don't you just stay and listen to me? All right. So and then this is kind of a backwards way to do it, but let's see how it works. So hang on, I got to find my window. All right, Adam's inclusion in this call was delayed because he has. Is this the same software upgrade on your iPhone, Adam? 9 point. Yeah, 9.02 is the Apple upgrade, the iPhone upgrade that Adam has been blocked from joining this call since the call just most recent to this. Adam did it from his home computer after he discovered the iPhone wouldn't allow him to connect. He doesn't have that luxury at this time because he's mobile. So, Adam, I was just saying, I talked about some of the calls that I handle for your office. I did the introductory stuff that I do weekly, and then I, in the week that has passed, it occurred to me just because of my role with your company and me taking these calls first thing in the morning, my calls are biased towards the clients who are having problems because they're panicked, they're getting sued. The first thing they're going to do in the morning is call you, and those are the occasions where they get me, and those clients usually have noteworthy. And let's face it, this phone call, we want to keep it sort of entertaining. So to favor the problems is a little more entertaining than the boring clients. So I was trying to say that you do have boring clients, and that of course is not the client who he or she is boring. That is, the case is boring because nothing happens to them. They don't get sued. Their collector calls are managed professionally and diverted, and that seems to work without a big problem. And it actually works through letters that tell the creditors to stop calling, and those that do continue to call go to a different number. And so that's usually the first messy thing that happens. And for a lot of clients, it's just not a problem. And then if they're paying enough into the program, money becomes available soon enough so that all the messy problems are head off, like lawsuits and uh, garnishing and wage garnishment, levied bank accounts, seized, or a tag put on real estate. These are some significant problems that can happen when a person is not satisfying his or her creditors. The vast majority of Adam's clients, hundreds of them, he is telling me in my ear, don't have any of the problems that we described. So I was trying to be more specific with I think it was a 14-month man, Adam, you might remember him. I was describing that he was the kind of client I never talked to because he had one problem with his final payment that didn't get turned off properly. So Adam's bank, which was also the client's bank, took an extra payment that they shouldn't have, and Adam had to get it reversed. So that was the one little glitch. I mean, it was significant. It was urgent. It had to be fixed, and Adam fixed it by the end of the week. However, in comparison to a charmed program, the one extra payment that got reversed by the end of the week was not that big a deal. So that client's characteristics included paying 14 months of debt with maybe more than 1,000. Adam, I called it 1,200 a month. I don't know if I was exaggerating. Yeah, so this was 1,200 a month. He was paying. Do you know how much debt, Adam? 35,000. 35,000. He did this and he was alone. This was not a his and her and their kind of program. It was just his debt. Yeah. So this guy, this man, this client. Do you remember what state he was in, Adam? Not sure. He called me, so he may have been on the East Coast. Maybe he was in Pennsylvania. Uh, so a lot of this particular client got out of a lot of debt in a relatively short period of time. The same amount of debt he just would not have gotten out of without professional help. Adams, yeah, Adam just told me 16 years if he had done it himself. That's paying the same rate directly to the credit card. So the magic of this program is not magic. It's just basic manipulation of business financial systems. The idea is the value of debt when someone is current is relatively high because the person is demonstrating that that debt will be paid. As soon as the person goes delinquent, the value of that debt crashes. Well, there's another crash that happens along with it that's called credit score, and a lot of times that's exactly what keeps people out of this program. But if they allowed their debt to go delinquent, the value of that debt crashes. They begin to save in a program in an escrow bank that Adam sets them up with. It's a federally regulated, insured bank, just like the banks we know, but it just doesn't happen to be one we know because it's a specialty bank, an escrow bank. So that bank saves the money, holds the money, secures it in an escrow fund, which cannot be taken for any other reason. So two good things are happening in the client's favor. The value of the debt is going down, and he or she, or sometimes he and she, they are paying or saving to pay that debt. It is a rare moment in a person or couple's financial life where they are saving for something that is decreasing in value. Well, that decrease can only be pushed so far because eventually, if there's enough debt and these people are obligated to pay some of the wrong banks, those that do get higher law firms and sue, that moment of magic, which runs 6 or 8 or 12 months, comes to a crashing end, and those are called lawsuits. So that's the magic that Adam works, which again is not magic, it's just good timing based on uh, uh, predictive models that he and his staff have developed over years of doing this. So the idea is you let it go delinquent, so it's getting cheaper, but be careful not too delinquent. Well, that's exactly what happened to Mr. 14 months. He saved, his debt went delinquent. The money was there, available as needed to pay it when it was ripe and appropriate to be paid. And this man was on his way to good credit again after his credit report's a mess. He's got these unpaid delinquencies that become settled for a less than full amount, which no longer hurts a credit report. It is judged just the same as if it was paid in full. So that person is staged to make a rapid comeback with good credit, debt paid, and moving on with his financial life as if it was just a bad memory. So, Adam, I'm just going to do your contact information and then we'll call it quits. We'll try it again next week. You have anything to add? One thing, Adam, with this marketing campaign that we're doing, I especially want to make people are clicking on the internet and coming to us. Might be surprised that they're actually coming to something fresh, because the things that are competing with us are old. They're largely 2 and 3 year old videos. So, what would you say happened this week that would let our listeners know that this is fresh? I support Bernie Sanders for president. Is Bernie is making a surge in the polls. And then yesterday, President Barack Obama visited the Oregon town where there was a mass shooting. And Adam, I'm going to say this, I will like your editorial. I think this is the first location where there was a mass shooting where there was a relatively, certainly a popular movement that said, even though this guy shot up our community and shot up members and killed members of our communities, uh, gun control is just not something we can be a part of. From what I've read in the news, I'm considering this the first time that that's happened. Would you agree, Adam? Yeah, for Adam said first time of such general consensus. And so, in other words, Adam, you're saying, yeah, these blips of gun rights people show up all the time, but for it to really be not unanimous, never is it unanimous, but certainly a popular support for gun rights, even in a moment of tragedy, they were still strong and holding on to their guns. This country is, I'm quoting Adam, this country is in eternal problems until we realize that more guns is guaranteed more violence. Does not equal. More guns does not equal less violence. I wish Adam could say this. Yeah. All right. Adam, the phone number that I answer for Adam is the same number that when I switch it off of me back to Tempe, it goes to his office, and that number is 866-516-1985. And Adam's email address, or I'll just do the web address because emails are on there, plus a web form, a functioning web form, and that is financialrescuers.com. That's www.financialrescuers.com. And again, the number 866, toll free, 866-516-1985. Algo mas, Adam. All right, get your iPhone fixed. Ciao, ciao, ciao.